In this video, I'd like to address an issue that is kind of a pet peeve and that I get my knickers in a twist about quite a bit in lessons, especially with students that I inherit and have to prepare for exams, in 5 months. And I call it the bop, and I'm on a crusade to eradicate the bop. Right, so the pet peeve articulated more clearly is this extract comes from the last page of Rameau's pièce de clavecin. Sorry, not the last page of that, the Gigon Rondeau from his pièce de clavecin in E minor. And in the front of this volume, very readily available online, is a table of how to interpret his symbols. And Rameau uses slurs in a variety of ways. He calls them liaisons, Liasons. So a slur, as we know, can mean a tie, it means to play legato, and quite often in the music of Mozart and earlier, we're told that two-note slurs mean hold the first one down and play the second one staccato. Okay, so there are two problems with this two-note slur articulation applied to this particular passage. First of all, we do these two-note slurs to emphasize the first note, not the second note, and quite often students aren't taught that staccato in the classical era or in earlier times is simply half length. And so we have this erroneous interpretation where staccato is staccatissimo martellato fortissimo. And what it does is it emphasizes the last note or the second note of the slur or the last note of a slur, and it does the exact opposite of what the two-note slur is designed to do, which is emphasize the first note on the harpsichord, which is not a weighted instrument and can't do loud or soft. So the only way you can emphasize notes is to play the important note legato and the less important note shorter, staccato, or half length. Okay, so the problem with using that interpretation of slurs for this passage in Rameau's music is it's quite frankly wrong. What he asks in the front of his pièce de clavecin is that if you have a slur covering a broken chord of one harmony, and you can see down here at 45 I've done a vertical harmonic analysis, so these three notes chunked together make the dominant seventh in third inversion of B minor, so you get a quasi cadence through here, but it's all broken, yeah? So you get a dominant seventh going to a chord 1 in B minor. What he actually is asking you to do is this. When you have these slurs, you're supposed to tie them through with a finger pedal. So my students would understand the difference between finger pedal, which is kind of an oxymoron. It's where you hold your fingers down for the length of the slur. Okay, so when you play C sharp, you hold it down while you play F sharp, and you hold the F sharp and the C sharp while you play the E. So you end up conglomerating that chord and achieving this chord by stealth by the end of the beat. And it's very beautiful if you do it properly. And so what I've done, even though I'm running the sound through the music software program, I've tried to write exactly how my student played this when the student came in the door at the beginning of the year, and how I understand, and what I've been taught to understand, these broken chord slurs mean in the music of French keyboard masters of the Baroque era. So let's have a listen to it, how we want it to sound. So that's the extract. Here's the erroneous interpretation. Bop, chordal analysis. Okay. So I think this last one, even though it's run through my music software program, is much more beautiful and much more in the style of, according to everything that's actually available out there for us to study. So when you apply these three-note slurs over broken chords, you can see in the entire piece of Rameau, if you go and get it on AMSLP, that actually the left hand from the very beginning, it should have all these three-note tied slur kind of finger pedaled issues, and absolutely no bops. We want to show the harmony building up by tying through each note covered by the slur. Now bear in mind I am only talking about slurs that cover a harmony. If the slurs cover consecutive notes and a scale-like pattern. We're not going to hold those on because that is not showing the build-up of harmony. It just makes the music messy. So only broken chords that articulate the harmonic function of what you're playing. Okay? So there we have it. Harmonic slurs and how to interpret them in the music of Rameau and other French keyboard masters of the Baroque era.